Welcome to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, your show for all things local high school and college sports, as well as national sports topics right here on 92.9 KVRE and streaming online at kvre.com. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Good morning, Tracy. Welcome back. We've got a big show on our hands today. We'll talk to Lance Restum of the Arkansas Travelers. We've got some local baseball and softball stories. District tournaments are happening, and the postseason is right around the corner. And of course, we've got the latest on National Park College Nighthawk athletics. But first, the big story in the national spotlight this week is one that I think that you're going to enjoy. After 14 years, Reggie Bush has his Heisman Trophy back. The Heisman Trust announced on Wednesday the reinstatement of the trophy due to, quote, enormous changes in the college football landscape. And there have been a lot of changes, haven't they? We've talked about those changes quite a bit on this show. Student-athlete compensation, it's become an accepted practice. It appears to be here to stay. What are your thoughts on Reggie finally getting his Heisman Trophy back?
Well, Mark, to begin with, it was something that you're a young man or young lady in the field of sports with alumni coming at you right and left, okay? You know, in every which way. You're not an attorney. You're not up on that stuff. And something as simple as somebody gives you a vehicle. Look, if you're from, as is a lot of these kids, a lot of them are, you know, not as privileged to have some of the finer things in life. They give you a vehicle to drive, yeah, or they give you someplace to go eat, you're going to take it. And you get caught in the middle of this, you're not up to date on legal as far as what lawyers are looking at. And of course, this was a media big blow up right here. They're the ones that caught it. They're the ones that had to make their name. And, you know, and so to speak, this one that I think that suffered was Reggie. You know, I mean, as a kid, 22, 23 years old, you're expected to know all the rules and regulations. And now that NIL is here, let's go back a little bit. How many kids have been caught up in this? How many programs? Now, if you reinstate Reggie, okay, with his Heisman, how many programs do you have to go back and say, well, because this coach did this or this alumni did this, their programs were on probation? Where does it stop now? I mean, I feel sorry for Reggie, don't get me wrong, but now you've opened up a can of worms to where you got programs through this last dozen years or so that were given sanctions because of such things that were not, quote unquote, legal. So where does it stop now? Who's going to, just because it was a Heisman, that gives them the right to give it back?
Well, historically, I mean, you're right. This is not the first time that we've seen something like this, and we've seen so many different infractions over the years, but this is a big change in the terms of college athletes, and you said it best. You're 18, 19, 20, 21, 22 years old, going off to college, and then because of your athletic talents, you're thrust into the national spotlight. You were arguably the best player in college football at the time in 2004, Reggie Bush, the running back for the University of Southern California. Mm-hmm. And there's a lot of cameras on you. There's a lot of media spotlight and attention on you. And I'm sure there are a lot of people approaching you, offering you things that maybe you don't know that you can't accept. You know, I imagine that there's probably a lot of ignorance on players' parts in that kind of spotlight with all the attention on you. And then, you know, who bears the brunt of that? Well, Reggie Bush has his Heisman Trophy taken away despite earning it. Listen, they voted. They said that he was the best player in college football, but because of something that happened outside of the game, they strip it away, and he has never given up on fighting to get it back. And of course, in 2021, like you mentioned, rules allowing athletes to be compensated for their name, their image, their likeness were enacted. And he immediately began lobbying for his trophy back. And he was backed up by former Heisman winners as well. Matt Leinart, the big quarterback, Johnny Manziel, Tim Brown. There was increased pressure on the Heisman Trust to make the move. And I'll be honest, I'm glad that they did. But like you said, this opens a lot of doors. This asks a lot of questions, and I think it's going to send waves throughout all sports. You know, one of the biggest travesties in all of sports, this is my personal opinion, but one of the biggest travesties in sports is in baseball, with Pete Rose not being in the Hall of Fame.
I realize. Don't get me started.
Now, I know that this is involving gambling, and it's not apples to apples, but now you have to start asking these questions. Where does it end? Let me go back to Reggie Bush. He wins the trophy in 2005. He's such an outstanding athlete for USC. But USC got a lot of that punishment as well. They had to vacate the 2000
sanctions.
They had to give up the 2004 national championship. Are they going to give them back the title? If they give, it was all because of Bush, right? So if Bush gets the Heisman, does USC get the national championship back? And then they had to vacate 14 wins, basically the games that Reggie had played in. Of course, Bush had to forfeit the trophy. So let's go back and let's retroactively fix things. If we're going to fix things, in USC's instance, do they get their national championship back?
The rings?
Why wouldn't they at this point? If everything is hunky-dory with Reggie Bush, why can't USC have everything back? And then, of course, for all the other programs out there as well, this may end up being the poster child for things, but it is a sign of the changing of the times. And with NILs, and now colleges and universities have to compete on a economic level, on a financial level to recruit and retain talent. But I think that this is going to be very, very big for the road ahead for all of college sports and undoing maybe some historic wrongs in the sport as well.
Well, Mark, okay, let's look at it, not just with USC, okay? If you recall, not only after the sanctions, you had coaches leave. You had they weren't bowl eligible. How much money did they lose at UC? Think about that on campus. How much money through the programs, not just USC though. Think about all the other teams because of these sanctions. Alumni infiltration is what I call it, and it happens. Don't get me wrong, it happens everywhere. Back when I was playing ball at 100 years ago, it happens. Just because you don't get caught, okay, that doesn't make it any better. But now once again, did it open up a can of worms where everybody's going to come back and they're going to want this and that and given all the credit? Because if you think about this, not only was the Heisman taken away from him, but obviously his records and everything too. This was a kid that was caught in the middle. I'm going to say that. It was caught in the middle. And now then, were the alumni ever charged? No. They were never.
Of course not.
No, they were not. Never. Why is it illegal for the kid? Now it's not though, but for these young men and women, why was it then illegal for them, but then the other guys didn't go to jail or didn't get prosecuted?
And how many instances never got caught either, swept under the rug, people very good at hiding things. I mean, it's no secret that this was going on for decades. When people started to figure out how to fly under the radar with it, you better believe this was going on.
The fix was on.
For decades. And it seems like such an easy argument to make today. Why was this an issue 20 years ago? What was the problem? What was really the big problem? He comes in and he puts the program on the national spotlight, wins a national championship. And remember, I know that the SEC dominance hadn't really started to take shape like it really has in the 2000s, but it really put USC in very good standing there. And all of a sudden, for that to be taken away, and it's a bruise, it's a blemish left on the program. And I think that there will be people that come forward and try to change things. And let's dream a little bit, Tracy.
Well, I was going to say, let's go a little deeper. Let's dream, and then let's go a little deeper on this.
Dream a little bit. Okay, so, this is not arguing balls and strikes with an umpire in baseball. You're never going to change that. The call is the call. You're stuck on principle. I know there's replay and stuff like that now in sports, but there's certain things that just feel like they'll never, ever, ever be overturned. But now there's a window of opportunity. So I ask you, what is something in sports that it may never happen, but what is something that you hope might get revisited, or as time goes on and maybe the old personalities or the diehards that are stuck in their certain ways or maybe no longer with the sport, and maybe opinions change, attitudes change, and ultimately policies and procedures change. What is something that you wish might get overturned one day? Something that somebody's been wronged in sports historically. What would you fix?
Mark, we're going to have to do a whole segment on this one, which we will. You know what? You just created, you just made a monster here right now. We're going to, next Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, we're going to do a whole segment on this because we don't have enough time today to get in the Pete Rose story. I'm just telling you right now, above and beyond everything. And the man never did anything as far as his own team.
That's right.
All he did, or got caught, but it was on other levels, but nothing against the Reds. So that right there is an atrocity in the world of sports right now. Of course, we know a really good pitcher that was supposedly on steroids, and we won't bring up names, and that's a whole nother segment we can do.
Sure.
I still believe that Hank Aaron's the home run king.
Sure.
Sure. And I always will.
Why are all the controversies involving baseball? Let me just throw that out there. Why is there so much shadiness in baseball?
Okay, well, we'll come back next segment. We're going to do rules and regulations on maybe the way that penalties are observed and they're thrown and whatever else. We're going to do another segment on that. But why baseball? Because it's all about being in America. And it's hot dogs, and it's apple pie, and it's baseball. And you can definitely, yeah, you can make it your own way, Mark. I mean, I say Pete Rose, you said potato, I said potato, but we'll do a whole segment on this one sometime. What do you think?
Well, one thing that I'll throw out there real quick, Andres Galarraga, the pitcher for the Detroit Tigers, who had the perfect game taken away from him, the blown call.
The blown call, see it? Okay, there you go.
By Jim Joyce.
There you go.
And Jim Joyce comes back afterward and says, you know what? I blew the call.
I blew it.
So if your umpire ultimately admits, okay, I got it wrong, it's an out at first, why can't he have his perfect game?
Well, that too. We'll talk about that in a whole segment. Coming up, Lance Restaurant, part of the Arkansas Travelers. What a baseball legacy we have here in Arkansas. And that's coming up in the next segment right here at Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition. I'm Tracy. Mark's, well, we'll talk about that.
I'm here.
Mark. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE. Alongside Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver, and joining us on the phone lines this morning, the Director of Charity and Community Support and the Executive Director of the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation. You can find him on the field at Dickey-Stephens Park, the MC of your Seattle Mariners minor league affiliate, Arkansas Travelers, Mr. Lance Restum. Lance, good morning. Thank you for joining us today.
Good morning, guys. Thanks for having me on. It's an honor.
Lance, I had the opportunity to kind of see inside, behind the scenes of the Arkansas Travelers organization last year as a worker in the video production department, and I am so impressed with everything that's going on at Dickey-Stephens Park and with this organization. It's huge on community, huge on family, huge on growing youth in terms of the baseball and softball community all across the state of Arkansas. Tell us a little bit about some of the great things that you and the Travelers have going on these days.
Well, thank you. That was a great setup right there. I couldn't have said it better myself. We're honored because we have a great job. I get to play a game for a living, and so we want to make sure we're giving back to the community and doing everything we can to create future fans. So the Arkansas Travelers, as you know, have always been a family-focused organization. When I started with 19 years ago, Little Leagues and Field of Dreams have always been our number one focus. Well, in 2021, we had an opportunity to kind of expand that and create the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation, and that's what I run. It's a 501c nonprofit with the explicit goal of breaking down barriers for participation in sports. And anyone that has any kids that are the age of 6 to 18 knows that sports is ridiculously expensive. And so that's what the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation does. And we're the official 501c charity of the Arkansas Travelers. And obviously I work for both. So there's a lot of crossover there. But it's a great opportunity to get kids inspired by the love of baseball and to give them opportunity to eventually become professional baseball players themselves.
Lance, through the years, you're exactly right. So many kids, get left behind simply because of the cost of either shoes or the bat or whatever, or transportation or something. So especially single parents, they know about this, and I was one of those. And so this organization, unbelievably giving back. We can express our thanks to you and all the organization does over there. Hopefully the next time we'll show up over here. Hot Springs is well represented in the world of baseball, of course, and we can never go anywhere without the legacy of the Travelers baseball, longest they've been around forever. This is the big to do with the kids. I personally want to thank you once again through the years. I mean, bringing kids over there, you would not believe just how their reaction is, and when you bring them in there. But my funnest time has been watching them get down there and run those bases and just play and have fun. I don't know who came up with that, but that's special. My son, I mean, and now he just got through playing, Division I sports, and he remembers it as a child. Getting the tickets from you 100 years ago seems like yesterday, but running those bases down there, and I cannot say enough. Odie and the whole 9 yards, having fun with it, but you do a great job over there. Once again, we appreciate you so much. Tell the listeners what we can do as far as upcoming, or how we can help promote your services there. Can we donate exactly, or how exactly do we do that, Lance?
Yes. Well, everything you said, you hit the nail right on the head. The problem, as you highlighted, youth sports is a lot different. By the way, thank you for pointing out how old I am, Tracy. Appreciate that.
I'd throw that one in there.
Throw that one in there. But you remember when we were younger, and a lot of folks that are, 45, 50 years old, when we played sports, it was a completely different environment. Your parents would pay a minimal fee. You get a trucker hat and a screen-printed T-shirt. You practice on Tuesdays or Thursdays, and you play on Saturdays at the same field you played on. And you had buddies that you played with and you went to school with, and they were in your church group and Boy Scouts, and it was a great community feeling. Well, youth sports is totally different. Now, to be on a competitive baseball or softball team, you're playing with kids that are in a travel league or in a tournament. And so you don't go to school with those kids. You may not go to church or be on other social groups with those kids. And it is ridiculously expensive. To entry level is $2,500. I have parents that are paying $12,000, $15,000 a year just for a hobby for their kids to play. And what really is unfortunate is exactly what you pointed out, Tracy. If you get a single parent, or a family of 3 kids, well, no one can afford to spend $15,000. I mean, that's ridiculous. And so what it has created is these alarming statistics. And I'm going to give you a few ones that'll shock you. But the biggest one is right here at home with the Arkansas Travelers. Our starting pitchers this year, we had 9 guys, and I got to sit at a table with them a few weeks ago, and we're eating barbecue and just talking to my new pitchers. And of the 9 players, 4 of them were not from America. The 5 that were from America, 2 of those 5 did not play high school baseball. Now, think about that for a second. You got drafted through the MILB draft. You're a professional baseball player drafted by the Seattle Mariners. Both of them got over a $600,000 signing bonus, and they never played high school baseball. Well, if you start thinking about that, how is that even possible, right? Well, you got travel, you got tournament. They're spending their time doing that, and they don't need to play on the high school baseball team because they're going to get recruited and scholarshiped for college from the tournament team. And so we've created this system where you have to pay to play. And fundamentally, that's what the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation does, is try and break that down. Our goal is to create a pathway, to create a roadmap where any kid, any Arkansas athlete, boy or girl, has the opportunity to go as far as they want. And so ways that we do that is with the free clinics. And so we had one at Majestic Park earlier in April. We've got one in 2 weeks at Lamar Porter. In fact, we'll be back at Majestic on June 24th for these free clinics. And that inspires kids, and then we can support them from there. Once we teach them baseball and show them the love of baseball, the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation provides equipment grants, scholarships, and all kind of funding, including the MILB tour, which I'm really proud of that. It's the actual Major League Baseball. They come to 18 cities throughout the summer, and they host a combine for kids that are graduating as a senior in 2027 or 2028. They create profiles, and they give those kids a shot. And if I can get those kids drafted by Major League Baseball, then we have a complete pathway to the show, if you will, without this ridiculously expensive, way we've created. And the way that people can help the most is awareness. Yes, we do take donations. I'll always take your money, but I also look for volunteers, volunteers to help run our clinics, and volunteers to help mentor kids. A lot of times when you get a kid who doesn't have a dad or a mom, or they're from a single family, they need that extra support. and sports is what helps them. So that's the biggest ways is that people can participate is through, yes, donations, through volunteering to participate, and also just sponsorships. We do a golf tournament that raises enough money to put 12 kids on baseball and softball scholarship last year. So there's a lot of different ways they can get involved. They can go to Travs.com under our community page, and they can find all those links that I just mentioned. And, of course, the socials. Everybody's on Facebook now. Everybody's a Facebooker, so that always works good.
Oh, man, Lance, we appreciate you so much.
Lance, you mentioned the golf tournament. It's the 2024 All-Star Youth Sports Classic. It's happening Monday, September 9th at the Country Club of Arkansas. Sign-ups are now open, and you can register teams and whole sponsors now, and it all supports the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation Baseball and Softball Scholarship Program. And talk about those scholarships a little bit more. What you provide for this community is not just experience or the means to play the game that you love, whether it's the cleat closet that you guys have to help get shoes to players, also scholarships as well.
Yes, yeah. Well, scholarships is something we launched last fall, and our goal was to help out the smaller schools. If you're going to Fayetteville or to UCA or one of those schools, there's a lot more opportunities for scholarships for baseball players. But if you're playing at, Arkansas Baptist College or Philander Smith or SAU Tech or National Park College right there in Hot Springs, the scholarships don't exist. And so our goal is to give those athletic directors, in fact, Rich Thompson, athletic director for National Park College there in Hot Springs, is a former Traveler. He's a former Major League Baseball player. He's also a former Traveler. And, our goal is to empower him to recruit kids that are maybe struggling, lower income families, or come from multiple kid families that wouldn't have that opportunity. Empower them, give them the money, get the kids in, and get them in the program and help them out. So scholarships is a huge part of what we do, and I'm proud to say we currently have 12 student athletes, 10 baseball players and 2 softball players that are on scholarship right now, and we're looking to expand that. And, of course, our golf tournament is our primary funding mechanism for that. So, yes, we would encourage any participation. I will also throw out there that the Travs will probably be playing at that tournament, too. I schedule it specifically so I can get some baseball, some Travs players to come out, too. And so if you want to hang out with the Travelers players and support a good cause, the golf tournament's a great way to do that, and it's September 9th. Now, I'll pick up on the cleat closet you mentioned. Thank you for bringing that up, because that is a new thing that we just created about 2 months or less than 2 months ago. The Travelers, they get sponsored. These are all professional baseball players. And once you make it to the professional level, you get a lot of free stuff. You get cleats and batting gloves and bats. And, you guys are familiar with the way that works, right? Hit a home run with my bat, and when you become a Major League Baseball player, you're going to want my bat to hit a home run with. And so because of that, we get tons of used equipment from the Travelers. So every year I get probably 30 sets of really good cleats. They've been used, but they're cleaned every night by the clubbies. So they're in good condition, and we have a cleat closet. And so anyone who's interested, you can go to Travs.com under the community tab and apply for, just fill out the form. It's completely free. You can schedule a time and meet me here at the ballpark. I'll let you try on whatever sizes you want. Plus, I also, if you pick up a pair of cleats, you get brand new socks, brand new pants, brand new wrist guard. I kind of kit you out with all the stuff that we've been donated. And we also have opportunities in there for other merchandise. So equipment, gloves and bats and helmets. We have a loaner program. So parents who maybe have an 8 or 10-year-old boy or girl and they want to get them in sports and they're interested, but they don't have the $500 it now costs to buy a bat, or $300 it now costs to buy a glove. So what we can do, the Arkansas Travelers Youth Foundation, is I will loan them the equipment. I'll give them everything they need to participate. And if they like it, if they stick with it, then you can return the equipment and you can go get them some nicer stuff. Or if they don't want to do it, you're not out any money. You can return the equipment and we'll give the next kid the opportunity. So all of the things, the loaner program, the cleat closet, the equipment grants, they're all designed to break down that economic barrier, which has just frankly become so overwhelming. It's so scary. And to hear the parents, it's so demoralizing to talk to a dad, and he wants his kid to be on this team, and he wants him to do good, but, his buddy's got a bat that costs $500. I mean, can you imagine spending $500 on a bat?
Well,
And the bat doesn't grow.
No,
The kid grows, but the bat doesn't grow. And so it's just it's really a daunting task. And so thank you for pointing that out, because there's a lot of ways that we can help parents get their kids outside and participate. And if they take off and if they go somewhere, we hope that we can keep our arms around them from the Youth Foundation as long as they're in sports, and we can provide them with funding for travel, new equipment if they need it, and then scholarships when they get into college, and then even through the MILB Tour, give them an opportunity to actually get drafted, Major League Draft. Through the Youth Foundation, we have a pathway that does not involve going to college. If you're a great baseball player, there's opportunities, and you don't have to be a college baseball player to get drafted. So all those programs combined really help us create a pathway or a roadmap where any Arkansas youth athlete, boy, girl, doesn't matter, we're going to break down those barriers, we're going to give them the opportunities, and we're going to make sure that they can get outside and play ball.
Well, I'll tell you what, why don't we do this? Why don't we provide them with something else? I'm going to paint you in the corner there. What about maybe some tickets to the Travelers game sometime? What do you think about that?
I think we could work that out, Tracy. You're twisting my arm there. But
All right. Well, you know what? The availability for these kids to get there sometimes, it's not in the works. And so by you guys providing some of these tickets through the years, we always have just appreciated that. What about if I hit the text line right now for 6 tickets? What do you think about that? 6 tickets?
That works for me. I'll make sure they're the best seats we got.
All right. Mark, what date we want to do this on? May coming up? You going to do it in May?
I'm going to say Fireworks Friday.
Fireworks Friday.
I have been at the fireworks shows at Dickey-Stevens Park. They're the best fireworks shows in all of the state of Arkansas. That's Friday. I believe it's May 3rd. The Travelers are going to play host to the San Antonio Missions. It's going to be a really good series at Dickey-Stevens Park. And 6 tickets, text TRAVS to 501-915-1300.
Yep, right. The first one to text Travs. I want to go see the Travelers. 501-915-1300. We appreciate it. Lance, so I just can't say thank you so much for all the great things you do over there. We appreciate it. And you come back on the show sometime?
Absolutely. Well, I want to say thank you guys for what you do as far as supporting local community outreach and providing a local, trusted sports resource. That's in short supply today, so kudos to you guys. Keep up the great work.
All right, brother. See you soon, man, and go Travs. Talk to you soon.
Have a great day. See you later.
That's Lance Ristrom with the Arkansas Travelers, and we'll be right back with Sports and Shorts. And, hey, the tailgate edition is always right here. Segment 3 coming up.
We are back. Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE, streaming online at kvre.com. With Tracy Simpson, I'm Mark Oliver. Time now to take a look at National Park College Nighthawk Athletics happening in our own backyard here in the KVRE listening area. Also happening up on Capitol Hill this week in Little Rock. Nighthawk men's basketball, your 2023-24 NJCAA Division II men's basketball national champion, National Park College Nighthawks, being represented and recognized at the state capitol this week. Had an opportunity to go up on the bus Wednesday and be a part of the fun, being recognized in the House and the Senate in Little Rock. Everybody got a chance to dress up and get to meet a lot of local celebrities here in the Arkansas political scene. And I'd like to say a special thank you to Senator Matt McKee, Lieutenant Governor Leslie Rutledge, and Representatives Richard McGrew, Bruce Cozart, Les Warren, and Tippy McCullough, and the members of the 94th General Assembly for recognizing National Park College's national championship. We had a chance to tour the Capitol, really learn a lot about its history. We've got a couple guys from the Little Rock area saying, hey, I've been here a lot, and kind of flexing a little bit. For some people, it was their first time. I think it was my second time ever going to the Capitol. I believe I went as a youngster on an elementary school field trip for Mountain Pine back in the day. And I'll tell you what, there was a lot of things that maybe I learned back then and I've forgotten, but one of the coolest things that I took from that experience, Tracy, is that what I didn't know was that the state capitol building used to serve as a prison in times past, and it was renovated and of course now used for all the political dealings of the natural state here in Arkansas, and just a really great experience. We're very thankful for our representatives, for our senators, helping shine the light on a great achievement for Hot Springs team.
Yeah, the tour, I haven't done it in quite some time, but unbelievable. And it's an exact replica of the one in Washington, D.C., too.
It's a beautiful building.
So absolutely gorgeous. Love it during Christmas. Man, I don't know who gets up there on the very top, but my hands just got sweaty thinking
Someone
about
braver than me, I'll tell you that.
My hands just got sweaty.
There's no amount of money.
But once again, a great season. And, of course, we followed it. Of course, you're a little bit closer and having a lot of fun with it. But once again, this is something that will be talked about for years and years and years to come. And, of course, putting National Park on the map. Not that it already wasn't because of other things and stuff like that, but national recognition, you can't find it any better than what happened over the last 6 months. And now it's in lore now. It's written and it's being recognized at the Capitol. Wow. I saw your picture over there. Look pretty. You had the cheese smile going on, man. Everybody did.
I had a really great time. I really did. And, it's been about a month since the Nighthawks won the championship in Danville, Illinois. And it feels like the recognition just continues to come, whether it's at the state level with our Senate and our House of Representatives. Awards are still piling in for this team. Of course, a lot of these guys on the team are still deciding where their next basketball home's going to be. Most of them have been traveling in-state, out-of-state, on visits, going and taking pictures and videos. And some of them have some really tough decisions to make whenever it comes to their college basketball career going forward. But a couple big things also happening this week in Nighthawk basketball. Nakavion White, it's a name that we've talked about so much. Two-time All-American, first-team All-American this year, the most valuable player. The JUCORecruiting.com top 100 player rankings came back out at the end of the season. They do one during the season. They do one at the end of the season. Nakavion White comes in ranked the number 4 player in all of the United States of America. He was also named a 2024 men's basketball all-star, and he and his coach Dylan Hargrove are heading to Las Vegas to play in the all-star game in May. Coach Hargrove is actually going to coach in the game. This is a really exciting opportunity as well.
Well, and just being the head coach is one thing, but now he's got all these other accolades that are coming, and it's only opening the door, not only for this team, though, Mark, and also for the coaching staff, but it's opened the door for all the players that are coming up. And that's what people have to look at. They've paved the driveway for so many players to come to National Park and not only play, but get an education. And it's opening the doors, of course, up for these young men, but unbelievable and very well deserving. They really had a great season, but once again, you got to think of the future too. Now, this is something that's so special and dear. Think about all the recruiting aspects of it, and I know it's a side dish on that, but we've got the draft coming up. So that they just leveled out all the different players in not only the women's basketball, but also now we know who's going on in the men's football league and stuff. But this is paving the road for all the new kids coming thinking about, I can go to that level and then play, get an education, and then go to the next level. So it's pretty special, Mark.
On the baseball and softball side of things for National Park College, big series going on this weekend. Nighthawk softball heads to Camden. They'll take on SAU Tech today at 1 o'clock and 3 o'clock in a doubleheader before wrapping up the regular season at home Wednesday, May 1st against Western Oklahoma State College. Coach Autumn Wyatt's Nighthawks at home one more time this season coming up on Wednesday. You want to go check them out. I'll be traveling to Ardmore, Oklahoma coming up in May 9th through 12th. I got the nod to broadcast the NJCAA Region 2 tournament. 15 games in 4 days, about 5 hours away. Really excited for the chance to broadcast some postseason softball.
Have you been to Ardmore?
I have not been to Ardmore, but you know what? I've got a U.S. map at home with all the places that I've broadcast. I don't have a push pin in Ardmore, and you feel free to text me on the text line if you have the lowdown on all the great and fun things to do in Ardmore, Oklahoma. I may not have time to do any of them. I'm sure the list is long.
Yes.
Send it to me anyway. You never No, I get bored usually at night.
You better like Sonic and rodeo.
We'll make it work. On the baseball side of things, of course, the Nighthawks face a critical NJCAA Region 2 series today in Camden, also taking on the Rockets of SAU Tech, doubleheader at 1 o'clock. And the team will celebrate Sophomore Day for their final home game, Thursday, May 2nd against ASU Mid-South, honoring 14 fantastic sophomores: Eli Hutcherson, Pedro Martinez, Carter Gaston, Spencer Sensley, David Favreau, Evan Grissom, EJ Lott, Reynaldo Rivera, Mason Dugan, Mason Pankey, Jaden Riles, Slater Watkins, Jacob Claiborne, and Jimbo Batchelor. NPC in the driver's seat to reach the postseason as well for its tournament in Enid, Oklahoma. NPC didn't reach the postseason last year on the baseball diamond. Coach Rich Thompson has these guys in the driver's seat with their own destiny in their hands, with the postseason looming ahead.
And we want to say another big congratulations going to National Park sophomore pitcher Eli Hutcherson. I mean, unbelievable, breaking another record, and the guys get the strikeouts to prove it. And sure enough, we can't say, hey, Nighthawk baseball without bringing his name up. Segment 4 coming up. Get your pens and paper out, because we're gonna got some records coming up that are gonna fall too, and you might want to make a note on that. More from the tailgate right here at Sports and Shorts. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition right here on 92.9 KVRE and online at kvre.com. Our fourth and final segment of the show, kind of a hodgepodge of national sports topics and local sports topics as well. Tracy, I know that you've been following Scotty Scheffler ever since his Masters win, really before that, let's be honest. And this is a young man that continues to do great things in his sport, turning heads and starting a lot of discussions on maybe who is the best athlete to pick up a set of clubs.
Well, Mark, and really this goes back a lot further than that, okay? Being a UT graduate, I don't want to hear it. But as it is, we go back to Ben Crenshaw, Mr. Longhorn. Now, people don't realize Scotty, now he's the new Mr. Longhorn, okay? UT graduate, all right, whatever you want to go with that one. But this guy, it's unbelievable. And you go through these phases, whether it's basketball, football, baseball, whatever, hockey. You go through these guys that just hit a run. And this guy's phenomenal right now. I mean, last year, wins one tournament, goes a year. Now, he's always in the top 5, being number 1 in the world. But then all of a sudden, he goes on a run, and we're talking 3 in a row, and the sky's the limit on this guy all the time, while his wife is pregnant with their first child. You got kids. I got kids.
Oh, yes.
And then, I mean, obviously the jet is just running, ready for him to jump on at any moment's notice. But, yeah, let's check this in consideration. The leaderboard on the money, just on the money, he's at over $15 million. The second closest to him is Wyndham Clark, under $8 million. Do you see the separation there? And, of course, this all has FedEx Cup points, to deal with, but this is unbelievable. The guy, I mean, I don't know how his caliber of play is when he's just sitting there playing Nintendo or Xbox or whatever. But I mean, the concentration on this guy is phenomenal. Ice in his veins. Is that where that comes from?
Hey, sometimes motivation also comes from the money or the achievements, and maybe his motivation comes from having a pregnant wife at home and wanting to build the best future possible for his family also. Golf is an extremely difficult sport in order to be successful at consistently, because the level of competition is so fierce, and there are so many varying factors on any given day, whether it's the weather or the wind or whatever. It's so hard to compete at a high level consistently, but we have seen really big names rise through the years, whether it was Tiger Woods or, I know Rory McIlroy hasn't really gotten all the way to the finish line, but he's been very, very close. Jack Nicklaus, so many great names out there. And Scotty Scheffler is the next one up in that lineup. Those legendary names, those Hall of Famers with the green jacket by his side. The future is extremely bright for Scheffler.
Yeah, there's no doubt. And, of course, winning a major at any point, it gives you the elevation. Of course, we've learned that through University of Arkansas, one of our own, guys from Russellville and by way of University of Arkansas. And it just one of those deals on a local level. It's something spectacular, but on a world level, It's unbelievable. So I can only imagine where it goes from here, but we wish the best of luck to him. I was going to toss in this. It's amazing. We saw the draft the other night, and now how it goes in full circle. We just got through talking about USC. 20 years in the makings, and now all of a sudden, back in the highlight is USC with the draft. And, I mean, it's full circle now. Do you think that has something to do to say that maybe because, the pack is basically gone?
It really is. And USC is one of the last ones kind of hanging on for hope there. But Caleb Williams coming out, obviously the top quarterback in the draft. It's extremely obvious that the Chicago Bears found the guy that they wanted. Getting rid of Justin Fields.
Did they?
It still hurts my heart.
Did they really, though, find the guy? What was wrong with Justin Fields?
Listen. I am a lifelong Chicago Bears fan.
Exactly.
Okay? Most of the sports teams that I root for are not very good. See the Chicago White Sox, okay? But regardless, I cannot make sense of why the Bears did what they did. But what I can say is they're all in on the guy that they want, and that's Williams. That's a quarterback from USC. And like you said, still having top-level talent. And it very well could trickle back to the Reggie Bush discussion back 20 years ago and the impact that was had there and what that meant for that program. And it's a really good thing for them to get their Heisman Trophy back in those ranks. But, on the NFL side, I have learned to take new quarterbacks coming out of the draft with a grain of salt. They're great in college. Sometimes it doesn't transition into the NFL very well. I don't know if I'm sold on Caleb Williams. We'll see. I'm a lifelong Bears fan, so I'm skeptical by nature. I'm a glass half empty by nature. It's very difficult. I probably need anxiety medicine.
Mark, the last time they won a Super Bowl and the only time you were
I was not born.
You were not here.
I was not alive.
I do remember those days, and they will never have another team. But it doesn't matter if you've got that caliber quarterback or whoever, or it doesn't matter if you don't have a line. We're not going to go in this today. We will next week after we do a complete summary of the draft. But I don't care if you've got Williams, whoever. If you don't have a line,
line is everything.
And I did not see that in the draft. I'm sorry. I don't know who's running the ship up there, but it does look like it's heading to Lake Michigan real quick.
Well, of course, the Bears also have the 9th pick in the draft also.
They
so,
do. They got that one.
They've built for this, and you're right. The line means everything. The line helped propel a Chicago Bears team to the Super Bowl in my lifetime. They lost to the Colts, but Rex Grossman was the quarterback. That's not a household name. Rex Grossman's not going to be a Hall of Famer, but there he was, a Super Bowl quarterback. So, yeah, line means everything.
He's coaching high school now.
It absolutely does. Let's talk about high school a little bit. Because I will
transition there. Let's go back.
You'll kill my whole vibe for the whole weekend. Let's talk a little bit about high school. So the AHSCA All-Star basketball game rosters have just been announced, and a couple of local stars are going to be playing in the basketball All-Star games being played at UCA in Conway on June 22nd. On the boys' side, Lake Hamilton superstar Ty Robinson makes the cut and starts for the All-Star West team. And for the girls, Amelia Rogers from Lakeside was named to the All-Star West team for girls basketball as well. I love that these All-Star games are being held at UCA. I know that I'm biased as a former Bear, but the facilities there are wonderful. They're centrally located. And, I remember the years where everything was in Northwest Arkansas, in Fayetteville, which is great for facilities, don't get me wrong, but for a lot of these guys to have to travel from the bottom of the state, that's a really, really, really long drive in hotels. And don't get me started, great centralized location. They've put on great all-star events at UCA. I can't wait to see how this summer's events play out as well.
Well, and here's the bottom line, too, though. Like you say, centrally located, and Conway has grown unbelievable. There's so many different places to go to now. Because what do you do when you go to these events? You go watch the event, and then you want to go eat and enjoy your time. And there's plenty of those places around there. But hats off to the young men and women for this is a big occasion. It's something you'll never forget in the rest of your life. It was actually a part of, on the football end of the, this is something that, not only them, but their family. Because you've seen it too many times. When you go to these all-star occasions, the whole family's there. I mean, everybody's there, and so it's a huge occasion. And we cannot just tell them, hey, congratulations enough, buddy. Hey, you know what, though, on the Gridiron Neck, we got some really hot baseball and softball coming right now.
Yeah, we really do.
I mean, it's tough right now. Regionals, everything.
District tournaments are wrapping up this week, and the postseason will move along. State championship, state tournament on the horizon. When we talk about baseball, we have to start with the Benton Panthers. Congratulations to head coach Mark Ballesteri, 600 career wins. He's been a big name over at Benton, and of course, Benton is really great this year. Benton and Lake Hamilton are going head-to-head for the conference title. The Wolves have a trio of home games coming up this week. They've got Nashville on Monday, El Dorado Tuesday, Whitehall Friday, and the Wolves close out the regular season with a big game against Bryant on Monday, May 6th. And while we talk about Bryant, the Hornets are the real deal on the baseball diamond. They only have 3 losses this year. They're only to out-of-state teams. No one has come within 2 runs of them in pretty much the past month. They get a tough North Little Rock team on Tuesday, travel to Conway Friday, and like we said before, that big game at Lake Hamilton Monday, May 6th. That's must-see baseball here in Garland County.
Brian is the real deal, Mark. You're absolutely right. But not only from top to bottom as far as hitting, but their pitching right now is unbelievable. I mean, they have got what it takes. Their rotation right now, 2 or 3 of those, I think can already play at the next level. I'll be honest with you. They're that good. And of course, a couple of them they haven't signed yet, but they've already got several, offers. So I'll just let it speak for itself. When it comes to baseball here in Arkansas, Sling County's really, I'm just telling you the real deal.
Regular season's wrapping up on the softball diamond as well. We start with Cutter Morningstar. Congratulations to star pitcher Jalea Hawthorne, the junior, striking out 15 out of 18 batters in a 6-inning perfect game against Fountain Lake. Cutter moving to 15-3 on the season. The Lady Eagles close out their regular season Tuesday on the road at Hope, and an incredible season for the Lady Eagles. Can't wait to have them on the show soon. And then last but not least, Lake Hamilton, a couple of big home games on its radar. Tuesday against El Dorado, Friday against Whitehall, and a softball superstar actually making history on the track and field side, as well as Michaela Miller for the Lady Wolves, competing in 6 events, 4 individual and 2 relays. Out of 6 events, she sets 5 school records as the Lady Wolves claim the 5A South Conference Championship in track and field. Congratulations to Michaela Miller. Congratulations to Lake Hamilton.
Man, we got a lot of stuff going on. Appreciate everybody listening this week, and next week we'll be right back with much, much more. We got tons to talk about. Don't forget to text if you want those Trav tickets, 915-1300. That's 501-915-1300. All you got to say is, I want to go see the Travs, which we all do. Once again, Mark, appreciate you coming on board today. Appreciate you. Go ahead and push the tailgate up, because Sports and Shorts Tailgate Edition, we're out of here. We'll be right back next Saturday, 10 to 11 at 92.9 and streaming at kvre.com.
Have a great weekend.